very warm welcome to fans of the Isle of Man TT races from around the world. My name's Chris Cave and I'll be your host this evening as we look forward to the event returning in 2022. We'll be joined by some of the biggest names in TT racing as we bring you headline news and the latest developments coming your way when the Isle of Man TT returns in 12 months' time. Joining me in the studio live are three local TT legends. The fastest ever Manxman around the TT course, Connor Cummins. The most successful sidecar driver in TT history, Dave Molyneux. And the island's last solo race winner and now an integral part of the event organisation, Richard Quayle. Guys, great to have you with us here this evening. 2 years now since the last TT, as three guys who are synonymous with the event. What's it been like living without it?
For me, it's been very strange. Firstly as a rider, but secondly as a local. It's been very strange, no TT at all, and I'm looking forward to 2022. There's no doubt about it. The next year's TT is going to be massive, so I'm really looking forward to it. Get back on the Malenko by Paget's racing bikes and twist the throttle. The
plans are already in place, the excitement's building. Dave, your life's revolved around the TT for decades now. How optimistic are you about the event's future after a 2-year absence?
Well, I'm really optimistic about it. From what I've heard and what I actually know, the organisers and the Isle of Man government have put a great lot of work in, and it's got a great future. You know, there's some changes been made that really needed to be made, and it's onwards and upwards. Yeah.
People always look at those 2 weeks of the year and hold them in high regard on the calendar. Richard, how important is the TT to the Isle of Man?
Yeah, Chris, you know, the TT is the be-all and end-all on the Isle of Man. It goes hand in hand, and without having one or the other, it just doesn't work right. And it's just, it's been torturous for everybody, I think, the locals and everybody from a far field as well. Not having the TT, it's just been like, come on, I need my fix, and where is it? So it's been hard for everybody, organisers, racers, riders, or, you know, sponsors. Everybody has missed it, and so, you know, hopefully we're coming through this now, and then next year will be bigger and better than ever.
Well, before we go any further, let's take a moment to remind ourselves just what we've been missing. So that's what it's all about. That's what we've been missing. Let's take a closer look at the return of the TT then, because when it does, it will look slightly different. The organisers had already designed an amended race schedule for 2020, but as we now know, that didn't happen. But that has been rolled forward to 2022, starting on Sunday, the 29th of May, with a new, lengthier afternoon qualifying session. The 8-race programme gets underway on Saturday the 4th of June and kicks off a tighter, more streamlined race week with the absence of TT0 and the recently established midweek qualifying sessions. Instead, the 2022 schedule sees the introduction of a one-lap warm-up that will allow the competitors to get a good look at conditions around the mountain course and get dialed in ahead of the day's racing. But much bigger changes are coming your way in 2023 with an increased 10-race schedule, starting with a bumper qualifying session on the 29th of May. That's the late May bank holiday in the UK and the British Isles, and it will culminate with the senior TT on Saturday the 10th of June. This new schedule sees the TT grow from 8 to 10 races, with competitors in all 5 classes now getting to compete in 2 races per class. There's also a greater focus on weekend racing, with 6 of the 10 races now slated to take place over 2 long weekends. The new schedule doesn't just open up opportunities for fans coming to the Isle of Man to see the TT for real, it also enhances the experience for all of us TT fans, giving us the one thing we crave the most, and that's more TT racing. Joining me now to discuss the new schedule are 3 of the biggest names in TT racing today. The fastest person ever around the TT course, Peter Hickman. The last man to win a senior TT, Dean Harrison. And 23 times a winner and now recognised by Her Majesty the Queen, John McGuinness, MBE. I'll come to you first, Peter, if I may. We've heard a lot about the developments happening to the TT tonight. For you personally, how important is it that the event continues to evolve?
Yeah, it's really important. The big thing about our world, I guess, is it's always evolving. I think the TT, it needs to make them changes to come in line with other sporting events, such as it now finishing on a weekend is going to be, I think a real big thing for a lot of fans, a lot of people that are not able to get in the week. So for the TT to actually make a big change, and I think a lot of us we're all kind of guilty of the same thing. We don't really like change. We like things to stay the same. But I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we've got more races. It's a good thing that the schedule's changing a little bit to accommodate more people and more fans, and ultimately a better experience. And
how have you been working with the organisers to help shape the future of the event?
Yeah, the organisers have been really proactive in that department, actually, which has been it's been really good. Not just myself, but there's been lots of other riders involved. We've had various meetings and Zoom meetings, as it's been for the last kind of year or so, with lots of different ideas from all of us lot, as well as the organisers. Rather than them kind of dictating exactly what's going to happen, they've been asking us the questions and what do we think, what's our opinion on this, what's our opinion on that. And it's great that the organisers have actually involved us riders, or at least some of us riders, to actually have that feedback and listen to us and create the event to be better again.
And I know you'll be really, really excited to get back to the island in 2022, where we will see some intriguing changes. But fast forward another 12 months to 2023, how excited are you about the prospect of a greater revamped Isle of Man TT?
Yeah, I think all of us, definitely us 3 that are sat here now, we're all ready and raring to go already. It's been tough. It's been hard work, but there's nothing any of us can actually do about it. So we're just looking forward now to actually sitting on the bike on Glen Crutchfield Road in 2022, and like you say, in 23, when things actually change properly and the event changes for the better. I think it's the experience for everyone is just going to be a much better experience, and I can't wait to sit on the FHO racing BMW and get myself down that Bray Hill.
Dean, let's come to you and look at the schedule changes in a bit more detail, because it will mean racing over 2 long weekends and the senior TT moving into its own slot.
To be honest, yeah, I do think the weekends is definitely a good idea, because as Peter says, people want to come and do things over a weekend. Most people work through the week. It means that it gives people more scope to be able to come the first or the second weekend to see the various races. And then if you want to be a full all-out fan, you can stay for the full fortnight. But no, I do think it's for the best. It's one of them. It's difficult because road racing people are very old, a lot of them, and I think everyone does get stuck in a way. I think it's really hard to try and change and break a bit of a mould. But once it's done and people do see that it's for the better, I think it'll get stronger and stronger.
8 to 10 races, so potentially more racing for you too. And that's also good for your team and sponsors as well. Better value for money.
Yeah, I'll have to sort of quite a few bikes out. There's going to be some serious racing going on, some serious parts needed. So I have to look at all the classes and see what we could fit in.
And how important is it for you that the team does get seen as much as possible?
Yeah, it's a big thing for every team, not just my team. The Silicone Engineering team I've raced for quite a few years now. It's great to get it out there again and try and get it up the front, which is the plan. So no, I think it'd be good for the spread of the whole teams and the whole exposure of the event, to be honest. Let's
come to you, John. A healthy sport, a healthy TT is only good for the sport.
Absolutely, I remember coming across as a kid and watching it and growing up with it and loving every bit of it. It's been, like Peter says there, it's been hard work. It's been tough. We've all been kicking our heels a little bit and desperate to get back over there. Not only for the racing, I just love the place as well. But we're all chomping at the bit. There's some great teams. There's some good riders. There's some newcomers. There's young riders. Some old buggers like me still really passionate about doing it. So yeah, it's in a healthy position, and once the doors are open again, we'll all be on that ferry and coming across to enjoy what it's all about.
And like Peter, enlighten us how you've been working with the organisers to input your thoughts and ideas in shaping the future of the event.
Yeah, it's important. It's important that they've spoke to us. This is, what is it, three decades I've been racing there. 96, the first time I went, and they told me it was an honour to get an entry to go and do it. For them even to let me to ride there. So, and I was a young up and coming rider wanting to do it. But we were set off down Burchell by a guy in a white smock and a chalkboard saying, mist on the mountain and wet roads and everything else. But now, to involve us and to get us to get our opinion across about some of the safety aspects of the event and just try and make it safer, try and make it more enjoyable, try and, it's really important. And, we feel part of the gang and feel part of the whole event. And, you've got some great people over there with Milky and Paul and all you guys and everything about it. So yeah, we're all feeling part of the group and looking forward to it.
I hope you're not making way for the young guns yet, but are we going to see John McGuinness in racing trim at the Isle of Man TT in 2022?
Absolutely, yeah. We're riding today at Donington, but I feel like I've been run over at the minute, so I'm a little bit old and fat and a bit unhealthy, so I need to sharpen my pencil a little bit. But I was at Donington today, and not for one reason, for ticking a box to get myself sharp for TT 2022. I've had a rough time. 2017 injured, 18 wasn't recovered, 19, as we know, didn't work out. 20's gone, 21's gone. So I'm like, I just can't leave it like this. I can't finish my TT career on a broken engine bolt, sat at the bungalow watching that Yorkshireman on the other side of this picture winning the senior. But fair play to him for winning it. But not a great thing to be watching it. But yeah, I'd like to cross the line and then at some stage take a back step. But next year's TT, I'll be 50 years old, which is old. But it'll be my 100th start. It's really important to me to do 100 starts. I've done over 50,000 miles around the Isle of Man, and every time I ride a bike, I'm always thinking about how's this going to work at the Isle of Man, how's this going to work through Glentrammon, and how's this going to, what about the stability of this? So I'm always thinking ahead of the TT. But yeah, the answer to your question, yeah, it's on the radar. So if I'm still got 2 legs and 2 arms and I'm still operating, I'll definitely be lining up on the grid next year.
And I bet you're counting down the days.
Yeah, what is it? 300 and some days. Clive Padgett will tell you to the hour. I would imagine he's missing the racing as well, like we all are. It's been frustrating. It's been my life. I've done so many starts. I've done. It's what we've done. It's been my structured life for the last 25 years or so, doing the racing. So it feels really, really strange. But yeah, it's less than a year away now, isn't it? So we've waited 2 years. We'll have to just wait another year, won't we? But I'm super thrilled, super looking forward to it. And you know, the more races in 2023, you might have to just pull back on that a little bit. I don't know about 10 races for an old guy like me, but it's only for the better of the event, I'm sure. Racing over a second weekend, I'm well up for that. You know, we can even, you know, the weekend. I'm not sure if we race on the Saturday and Sunday, we could have a fan zone day where we'll stay over, and you know, we could all just go on a drink with them, couldn't we, and have a good old time, a good old knees up. And you know, after we cross the line for the senior, normally we're in a pub somewhere or in a gutter at 5 o'clock in the morning, and so let's do it with the fans.
Well, John, great to catch up with you. Likewise with Dean Harrison and Peter Hickman. We're looking forward to having you back on Manx soil in 2022. And it's hard not to get excited by listening to John McGuinness, who says he can't wait to race over 2 weekends, and listening to Dean Harrison, who's excited that the senior TT has been moved to a Saturday. Let's come back to the guests in the studio. Connor, they all sound positive. Are you as positive as them?
The TT's got a really bright future. We've engaged, well, the organisers have engaged with us riders to give our feedback, and they've listened. So I think it's going to be a strong 2022 and beyond.
Both Dean Harrison and Peter Hickman saying how they were excited to race in the senior on a Saturday, its own slot. Dave, as a proud Manxman, is it not going to be a bit strange having the senior race in its own slot?
I don't think so, personally. No, I'm looking forward to being a spectator because I'm a fan. I want to go and watch Connor and John and Dean and all the guys racing around hard. So I like the fact that it's been stretched out like that, and my race has been, the sidecars have been put back into the middle of the week again. You know, that's good for the fans as well, you know, because it's a long break between the two sidecars recently. No, I think this is going to be a really good change. Excellent. Yeah.
And it's not the first time the senior race will be contested on its own day. Richard, I'm told that you are old enough to remember a time back in the day where it was contested in its own slot.
Yeah, you know, that like the senior's the one to win in it. That's the one that everyone wants to dream about and win, and you know, that's the trophy you want to be getting and picking up. And that's, you know, unfortunately I wasn't good enough to pick it up, but that's the baby. That's what you want. And you know, the senior needs to have its own race day for sure. I mean, it's the pinnacle of the event, and it's the last day, and it's, you know, you need to be finishing on a high. So yeah, it's going to be really, really good. It's going to be amazing.
Are there any concerns from your point of view? Because with more races, it means fewer rest days. Will that cause any problems for the riders?
Obviously, the TT now is at such a high level. All the riders now are fit lads. You know, they've upped the ball game as well. You know, in the old days, there used to be a bit of a holiday racing mentality. Now that's gone. You know, all the lads want to win it. They want to, you know, so they train hard. They work hard on everything. Do you know what I mean? So it's a complete package now. So yeah, it's going to be a long week. I mean, that's the thing with the TT when you are riding a bike for effectively 2 weeks, but that's what makes it so special as well. You know, every day you're on the bike, it's ace. You know, you don't get that any other race in the world where you're riding a bike for so long, and ultimately we're just getting our buzz. You know, so it's the more seat time you have, the better fun it is. You know, so it's going to be ace, fantastic.
And with 10 races, Connor, the deeper you get into race week, that is when records typically tend to tumble. Are you expecting more of the same when the TT does grow from 8 to 10 races?
I certainly think so. I think it'll be just like every other TT. It'll be a fast one. It's likely that records will probably tumble. It's more mileage. It's a bigger spectacle for the fans to travel to the event. I would not be surprised to see records go. I've had people asking me about obviously 2 years being a long layoff, and is that a long time? But it's, I think someone said earlier, year to year, you come first lap down Burchell or around the course, it's you always feel rusty. I don't think it's going to affect it too much, but more mileage, more race, and bigger the spectacle for the fans to embrace. So I think it's going to be bolster year.
Well, it's fascinating stuff, and we really can't wait to have the event back in 12 months' time. It's not just the racing schedule which will change next year, though. TT22 also brings about with it class changes, introducing new bikes and new sounds to the mountain course. The lightweight TT gets a name change. It will soon be known as the Super Twin TT, and this opens up the rules further to allow 700cc machines and paves the way for teams and riders to use machines such as the Yamaha MT-07 and the Aprilia RS660. So who knows, we could see debuts for those machines next year. Meanwhile, in the sidecars, the capacity limit is raised to 900cc for twin-cylinder machines, and this again opens up the class to a new range of power units. We're joined now by 3 more TT stars, all who will be heavily invested in both classes at TT22. 19-time TT winner and the last winner of the lightweight TT, Michael Dunlop. A man who's pushing boundaries on 3 wheels, the fastest sidecar driver in TT history, Ben Burchell. And a lady who uniquely competes in both classes, Maria Costello, MBE. Michael, let's start with you. Great to have you with us. The Super Twin changes, let's talk about those first, because it was in that class where you got your last success at the TT, your 19th win. What do you make of the changes?
It's always good to be able to get more people involved, but at the same time, we need to keep the rules, you know, a twin 650, and now we're going up to, you know, T's are up, and so as long as we can keep it straight and narrow and it keeps everybody in the fair playing field, that'll be good for everything.
2023, there'll be 2 Super Twin races per year. That's good for fans, but it's also good for encouraging more riders to take up the Super Twin too.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a class of, you know, obviously people concentrate on the modern 4-stroke teams, you know, so it might help bring a couple more people in. I'm not quite sure, but it's always more races, and the TT are definitely trying to push on and keep the thing running forward. That's the main thing here.
Do you think, though, with the increased programme and the fact that the Super Twin has produced a number of debut winners, notably James Hillier and Dean Harrison, that it is a more attractive prospect from 2023?
And I think the people that are running at the front are running at the front on the twins as well as the big bikes. So it definitely brings you know, yes, you know, people spend all year riding twins, where mostly like myself, we just rock up to the TT and ride a twin straight out the bat. So you'll get a lot more people who ride twins day in and day out, which the modern TT lads normally don't. They just rock up at the time and do it.
2 years with no TT, that's 2 years with no Michael Dunlop, and we've missed you greatly here on the Isle of Man. How have you been using those 2 years?
It's been good. I've got time to heal from my injuries. 19, I suffered a lot from injury. And the body's got time to heal again and leave myself hopefully in a stronger and a better position where I can, you know, the body's back to fit and battle again.
We very much look forward to having you back with us here on the Isle of Man. The Dunlop name is synonymous with the TT, and we can't wait to have you back, adding to that legacy that you're creating. Turning from 2 wheels to 3 then, and as I mentioned before, someone who's pushing the boundaries of sidecar racing, Ben Burchell joins us now. Ben, great to have you with us. We know that sidecar racing is an integral part of the TT, but how important is the TT to sidecar racing and to you personally?
Massively to both parts. Certainly to me and Tom and my team, it's our biggest event of the year now, and the most important thing to us. And also, I can pretty much say it's the most important event in sidecar racing. It's so unique and it's so incredible, and it certainly has had a massive part in sidecar racing for a long time.
Build and prepare sidecars as well. So talk us through that. What's your approach going forward, and do you expect other competitors to follow suit?
It's I think what's great, what they've done with the sidecar class is give it another option, because for years it was quite stale, and in fact, I think the last change that was made, it encouraged the sidecar class to take a different route, and maybe that's going to happen again. Certainly, for our next TT, we'll stay with what we've got. The bike that we've 2 years ago now prepared and built is quite unique, and it was hopefully going to be a big step forward. So we'll go with that, and we'll be running Honda again, and just wait and see, really, see how things pan out with the new rules. It certainly needs a year to sort of filter down, and in our position it would be a bit risky to try and do something quite radical, but we'll just see what happens.
What we'd all love to see, I'm sure, here this evening is to see a lap of the TT course in a sidecar 120 miles per hour. Is that achievable? Do you think that could ever happen?
Well, it feels a long way away now. Yeah, for sure. It will. It definitely will. If it's not me, it'll be somebody else that does it. I shouldn't say me, I should say us, me and Tom. It certainly takes two of us to do that speed, and we'll be pushing for a great result, hopefully, and I know that there's some real competition coming through the ranks, and hopefully that'll push us all up to that speed, and it'd be fantastic to see a sidecar doing 120 mile an hour for sure.
I'm sure you pair will give it a right good go. We've mentioned throughout this evening the 2-year absence and what it means to the TT and the competitors. How do you think it will have impacted the less experienced members?
I don't think it will have impacted too much, obviously everybody's going to be a bit rusty when we first get back there, but you can't replicate the TT anyway, so I think everyone's still been riding. We all got some good racing in last year, and we certainly will this year. So the bikes that we ride at TT, we do on short circuit as well. But the event is so unique; it's just there. So they'll pick up where they left off. I'm sure of it. And the young lads, it's a shame for them that they've had to miss a couple of years. I know for someone of the more experienced teams, we can hopefully pick it up a little bit quicker, but let's hope it don't stall their progress too much. But they're under no pressure to come back straight away and be up at our pace. I think that sidecar's good for that. That it'll take a few years, and everyone's aware of that. So that's sort of what they have in mind, and build the speed up. And I know one thing's for sure: there's some real talent coming through, and they're going to be pushing us as we get older and slower.
Ben, thanks for joining us. You're not showing any signs of slowing up anytime soon. Let's turn our attentions now to Maria Costello. Maria, you're in a unique position because you're currently the only person in the TT paddock who's competing on both 2 and 3 wheels. So all the changes we've discussed just now affect you. What do you make of the changes?
Yeah, I'm loving all the developments across the whole of the TT, especially the classes that I'm in. That's great seeing those evolve, and really looking forward to getting back to doing the TT next year with my new passenger Vicky. And we've been really missing it, so we're ready to go again.
And I'm sure a question on everyone's lips is just how difficult is it to transition from 2 wheels to 3?
Okay, so it's a very different thing, but it's not difficult to transition. And obviously I'm still learning in the sidecar, but it's the learning curve is really all to do with course knowledge. And of course I've got a lot of that as I've been racing at the TT for a long time. And that's why it allows me to show quite well in my debut in 2019 in a sidecar. So it's good to get back there and have more practice, because we did have bad weather that year and we had so few laps. So with more practice, what can we achieve? I'm really excited to see.
And you say you are still learning and you haven't had a great deal of lap time in a sidecar around the TT course. Is it a career path you'd recommend to your peers and that they should also try and take it up?
Absolutely. I mean, I loved it in 2019. It was like Christmas morning every time I got to go in the sidecar, because it was all so new, but really enjoyable, especially at those speeds. Obviously, I'm sure it's a lot different for the Burchells, etc., when they're lapping at those high speeds. But I'm sure we'll see more people come into this. Maybe the likes of Michael Dunlop.
Well, we'll have to wait and see whether Michael takes you up on that offer. But Maria Costello, Ben Burchell, Michael Dunlop, thank you very much for being with us this evening, and we can't wait to have you back here racing again around the mountain course. So 3 pretty enthusiastic ambassadors, I think, for the changes there. But let's see what our guests in the studio think. We'll stay on 3 wheels. I think, Dave Molyneux, you're the logical person to come to here, a sidecar legend. What do you make of the changes?
Well, I've been around a long time, as you know, and I was racing when the open class was here in 1989. The organisers decided to drop the class and run a 600 Formula 2 format from 1990 onwards. 30 years, over 30 years is a long time for any one particular make and category of engine. So I really welcome the change, and I've took the step to go with the twin-cylinder KTM 890 engine. I've tried and tested it. It's a pretty good unit. I'm really looking forward to getting out there and riding this thing.
And we heard from Ben there, and you hear it from a lot of the sidecar drivers and the sidecar teams. It's about construction, it's about the teamwork. Would you say that the Dave Molyneux of today are like the Bruce McLarens of old? They do everything in their...
Well, yeah, what can I say? It's we all put a great deal of effort in. I know Ben there with his LCR chassis. I build my own chassis. There's 3 or 4 other guys out there that are producing chassis for customers as well. And believe it or not, there is quite a lot of development goes on in the background. We've got all sorts of little trinket bits and pieces, you know, going on with suspension, tyres, brakes, and we like to keep a few secrets. So yeah, it's a little bit like the Bruce McLarens of the day.
Well, let's try and prize one of those secrets from you. We all want an exclusive here tonight. We're itching to get the TT back. What can you tell us about what you've got in the workshop for 2022?
Well, I've gone back to building my own chassis after 1 year on an LCR, which was good for me. I needed the break. It's quite an intense year building and producing something, trying to think of new ideas, something fresh to bring, and sometimes, quite often, it goes sideways instead of forward. So, but the biggest thing is the twin-cylinder category. I firmly believe this is something that's really good for the sport. And I thank the TT organisers for actually having the foresight to see the reasons behind why it's a good idea. But not to get too deep into it, it's the way forward. I think it'll open up a whole new category of engines coming in, BMW, KTM, Husqvarna, and also I think it might be a little bit more affordable, so I'm hoping it's going to help young guys and young teams come through with a little bit less stress on the pocket.
Well, it's certainly exciting. Let's turn our attentions to the Super Twins. Richard, what's your take on the changes which are coming in 12 months' time?
Again, you know, you can't help advance with technology, and you know, technology is advancing all the time, and it's brilliant now that we've got a couple more manufacturers involved with it, wanting to get involved, and yeah, it's brilliant. And also as well, another race for the lads, you know, whereas in the past they used to just come for the whole 2 weeks just for one race. They might break down on the first lap, and that's them sat out. Whereas at least now they've got another bite of the cherry, as they would say. So yeah, it's brilliant for everybody. You know, more bum on seat time as well. You know, the lads are going to get more laps around the circuit. The little Super Twins are a brilliant little starter class, effectively, for the TT. You know, as a newcomer, sometimes the big 1,000 superbikes now, the super stockers, they're just so fast. You know, whereas the Super Twins are a little bit lower speed. You've got a little bit more time waiting for the corners to come, a little bit more time to look into them. It's a 100% positive. It's really good.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the newcomers. Talk us through your role of giving them a bit of an insight in how to ride fast, how to ride safe around the mountain course.
Yeah, I mean, the TT is so totally, like Dave was saying before there, you know, it's so totally unique to any other race in the calendar throughout the year. You know, you've got the Northwest and the Ulster Grand Prix, which is, yeah, they're a road race, quite similar, but the TT, with the nature of being on your own, the duration, the speed, it's so intense. But that's why we all do it. That's why we love it so much, because it is so much fun. But it's a completely different step. It's a bit like rugby union and rugby league. You know, they're both the same, but the lads that have come in as a newcomer have pretty much done short circuit. They've always been racing with somebody, always been 30 or 40 lads on the start line together. They've always had someone to follow maybe, whereas in the TT, they've got to go fast on their own. So the only way you can do that is by knowing where you're going, and ultimately that's the hardest thing, is learning all the corners around the circuit. So again, myself and Johnny Barton, we go through quite a rigorous training regime with the lads just so that they get the course knowledge. I mean, we can't ride the bikes for them, we'd love to, but we can't twist the throttle, but we can hopefully then point them in the right direction to know where they're coming and where the dangers are, where the hazards are, and you know, hopefully then it sets them on, because the TT, it's not just a one-hit wonder. You know, you've got to look at the TT in a 5-year progression, you know, from coming as a newcomer to getting to a position. It always used to be 3 years, but now the lads are going that fast. It's that fast and furious. You know, effectively they're talking 5 years now between coming as a newcomer and getting to a position where you can be competitive.
He talks a good game. He talks about how much fun it is, does Richard. Connor, what are the chances that we can see you on a Super Twin again?
Well, never say never. I rode a twin back in 2013 in a lightweight race and finished 3rd, I think. So I have raced in the class before, and I would see it as a really solid feeder class into the TT. Low power bike, although they still bite hard, obviously. But I think it's a fantastic class. Yeah, I will never say never. I won't rule it out for future, but right now I'm focusing on the big bike classes, so Superbike and Super Stock and Super Sport. There's enough to focus on for the full fortnight, so really excited about it, and I just can't wait to get going.
Well, it's really interesting stuff. We hope to see you back on a Super Twin soon, Connor, but we'll have to wait and see how that all pans out. Now time for something a little bit different, because with more race days, with more races, with more bikes, it's time for the TT to find its way through to a wider audience. And 2022 is a landmark year for the TT, because for the first time ever, it will be accessible to a truly global audience, with live TV coverage available to the world's 4 billion internet users. Live TV coverage encompassing every second of qualifying and every second of racing will be made available to fans around the world via the TT's very own digital platform, which in turn will be supported by exclusive year-round video content, taking the fans behind the scenes and deeper into the fabled races than ever before. Joining us this evening to talk about the challenge of delivering an event the size and scale of the TT are 3 people who have been challenged with doing just that. Please give a very warm welcome to 3 TV presenters, Matt Roberts, Amy Williams MBE, and all the way from Australia, Cameron Donald. Let's start with you, Matt. You're no stranger to sports production, so this is a really interesting challenge for you 3.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've worked on a few different productions over the years, but this one's going to be something completely new and different. And, you know, it's really exciting. I think it feels like the right time now. The TT is one of the most visceral sporting events in the world. And it's only right that as much of the world gets to experience what, you know, we've been lucky enough to experience, being so close to it over the years. So I think delivering live coverage to TT fans is something that's been talked about for a long time. And it's taken until now, probably with this break and this restructuring of everything, to come up with a way of actually doing it. Like everything at the TT, this is going to provide a serious challenge to the team behind the camera and in front of the camera too, you know, logistically and technically as well, to effectively best tell the story of the TT. You know, that's not easy. Like I said, it's a challenge. We've got to cover the action over 37 miles of the TT course. And we've got a time trial format as well, which, you know, that's unique in motorcycle racing. So we'll be reaching a whole new audience who don't necessarily know the ins and outs of TT racing. So there's lots for everybody to consider. And, you know, live TT coverage, as I said, it's been talked about before. It's never been done before. It's a serious piece of television. The organisers have kind of done their bit now in terms of putting the challenge in front of us. They've put the time and the effort into that. And it's a challenge that we're really up for.
And this is the organisers really moving with the times, isn't it? Because we see so many sports now taking off on a digital platform.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, it's a real growth area. And I think, as you mentioned there, the organisers have probably recognised that. You know, sport does well in the digital world generally, firstly because of the way that fans follow their favourite sports. People nowadays often like to share the live experience with friends and fellow fans through social media. You know, they have the means to do that now. But also the increasing popularity of e-gaming, which I've been involved with different sports as well, and also fantasy leagues and things like that. So it's much more interactive. So it's important they get that opportunity too with the TT. And I think going down the digital route as well, it gives you the opportunity to create some really interesting content that you don't necessarily have the chance to do on linear TV, you know, like we've been doing over the past few years. So digital, it's much more flexible. It allows us to take fans deep behind the scenes to make the event more real and really get into the minds of these incredible competitors and you know, just what makes the whole event so fascinating when you get to experience it in first person. You know, speaking as a sports fan myself, you know, I use digital platforms more and more now, as most people probably do, to get invested in my favourite sports, but also to kind of dip my toe in the water, if you like, into new sports as well. And I think that the TT especially, it's blessed with having so many interesting personalities now, and the stakes are so high for these guys and girls as well. And those things combined, I think it just puts the TT into a different bracket from most of the sports. And this is going to give people all over the world the opportunity to tap into that and engage with it, which I'm really excited to see.
And Amy, let's come to you because you've done a classic TT before, but this will be your first TT. And it's a live experience as well, so it's extra special for you.
Yes, it is. Hi, everyone. You know, I've been really lucky to have worked these last few years on the classic TT, which is clearly quite different from the main TT. So yeah, I'm super excited to be there and to be working on such an exciting project and be involved with everyone else. So yeah, super honoured to be part of that team, and it will be really unique to have that live coverage for such an iconic event for the very first time.
And like Matt, you're no stranger to live TV either, are you?
I've done a little bit, yeah, mostly with the Winter Olympics. That's quite unique live, stand at the side of a bobsleigh track and you're, having to think off the top of your head and that speed and thrill. So yeah, there's a lovely crossover here. There's really nothing like live TV, live sport. And I think, it just brings that extra level of that emotion, that thrill, you feel it more. So that emotional investment and intensity would definitely be there. And I think it will really show that there is a real risk and a real pressure to perform, and there certainly is in the winter sports that I've commentated on. But I think even more so, those sports still aren't quite as raw or as emotional or as spectacular as the TT. So yeah, I think if we're all successful as a presenting team and as a production to be able to convey everything that makes that TT racing so incredible, I think there will be some real sitting on the edge of your seat stuff, and I really hope that we bring that to the audience.
Well, let's hope so. Let's say hello and good morning, I think, to Cameron Donald, who's joining us from Australia. Now, the TT has been a massive part of your life. First of all as a competitor, but then latterly at the moment as part of the TV team. So how exciting is this development for you?
Yeah, it's huge. It's hugely exciting. I'm not sure what I'm more nervous about, being on live, working on live television or heading down Bray Hill on a superbike. They both get the nerves going, but that's what the TT is about. It's about excitement, and that's what we want to share with more and more people. So yeah, this is a huge development, but we all know how exciting the TT is, and that's why we love it. But to be able to share that with so many more is that's what I'm excited about with this development.
And given your background, you must know surely how complex an operation it will be to deliver the TT live.
Yeah, I certainly have. It's going to be a challenge, but that's what the TT's always been about, taking on the challenge, and that's exciting in itself. I mean, we've got such a long course. We've got races that go for longer than a football match, 50 to 60 competitors on course at any one time. and racing, you know, the course itself, not just each other. It's so unique in so many ways, and that's what we want to share with people. I mean, to me, just the thought of the helicopter footage alone, to be able to share that with motorsport and motorcycle around the world that haven't experienced that yet, it's going to blow their minds. It's a huge prospect, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And it will bring the TT to a much wider audience as well. And you've seen firsthand just what television coverage can do for sport where you are in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to believe here in Australia, halfway around the world, how big the TT is. And a big thanks to that is the race highlight packages being shown back here at home in Australia. The TT is certainly at the top of a lot of people's bucket lists, and fortunately, thanks to travel experts in Australia like Sportsnet, they've made it quite straightforward for people to be able to travel to the TT and experience the event and the Isle of Man, and do that in a pretty straightforward way. So if the TT can replicate that around the rest of the world, that's the next step in really taking the TT to that global level, which we want it to be. We want to share it with everyone.
Let's come back to you, Matt, because we're not just talking about live coverage of the races, are we?
No, we're not, Chris. And can I just say before we go any further, it just makes their hairs stand up a little bit on my neck listening to Cam there, because I've been so lucky to be trackside with Cam during the races, and it's always seems such a travesty to me that people don't get to share that, you know, enthusiasm and experience that he has, and that live adrenaline, and, you know, to see it on his face as well trackside. I've always thought, you know, it was a mega part of the experience for me being there. So really looking forward to getting that across. But yeah, not doing anything by halves. We've got the whole of qualifying. We'll be broadcasting live in between race days from our new studio as well. We'll be covering the prize presentations. We've got loads of special guests coming in, analysis, and insight as well, and some magazine content too. So loads of stuff.
But that access, that's really important to sports fans these days, isn't it?
Yeah, I think sports fans have got used to that in other sports, and modern audiences nowadays, you know, they want more than just the action. And I think rightly so as well. You know, as an event, you have to showcase your strengths in new ways, and going behind the scenes and showing the human side of the TT. You know, that's essential to get that investment, that emotional investment I was talking about before from fans, especially from new viewers as well. So we got the opportunity to do that. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think one of the most engaging things about the TT is the human endeavour. You know, ultimately, you've got seemingly ordinary people doing absolutely extraordinary things, and that's special, you know. So we'll be presenting more than just racing, I think. You know, we'll be introducing all these fantastic characters and showcasing their unique talents and their mindset to a much wider audience, which is great.
And Amy, you'll have seen firsthand yourself just how sport can engage audiences globally.
Yeah, definitely. I think sport is such a powerful thing. And, you know, it engages millions of people every single day. So I think we've all seen how sport can dominate our lives when it comes to the big stories, you know, the Olympics, World Cup, and etc. So, you know, there are millions of sports fans out there, millions of motorsport fans who are yet to discover the TT, or, you know, who know very little about it, you know, myself included, you know, a few years ago. So I think the fact that they can't really access it, it will be great to be able to give the access of the event to people from their homes. And I think that's really exciting because an event as special as the TT does really deserve to be seen by more people all around the world.
It will be improved access, improved coverage. Guys, thanks very much for joining us this evening, especially to you, Cameron, because I know that we have got you out of bed early where you are in Australia, but thanks for joining us. Whilst highlights of the event will be available on linear television, live coverage of the TT will be available on the TT's brand new digital platform, and that means it's available for any device with internet connection. But it's not just for 2 weeks of the year. There'll be a whole host of new and exclusive content immersing viewers in the event like never before. As well as the best of the action from around the track, the channel will boast an annual feature-length documentary, as well as brand new docuseries following a number of top teams, riders and personalities. There will be rider stories, in-depth interviews and newly captured footage from the event like you've never seen before. Fans will also be able to access live events such as the TT Preview Show and, in the near future, the event's first esports competition. Well, it's time now to talk to two more paddock personalities who are about to become a bit more famous, or should I say infamous, two of the most successful team bosses in TT history, Clive Paget and Philip Neal. Good evening to both of you. A serious question to start off with, Clive. I think a lot of TT fans have seen the F1 docuseries Drive to Survive. Can we expect a similar thing from you and Philip, and perhaps be the TT's version of Toto Wolff and Christian Horner?
Well, I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. I certainly enjoyed the F1 programmes, but you know, I think the TT is so down to earth. We've all got so much respect for each other. That's riders, teams, team managers. You know, I think it's what makes the event so special. You know, I think the fans can reach out to us all. The fans can walk by the garages, the pit awnings, say hello, say hi. No, I think perhaps the two sports, you know, they're both at their pinnacle of the industry. But I think, you know, certainly, you know, the Isle of Man represents the single best motorcycle race in the world every year.
Who'd have thought, though, that with a 2-year absence of the TT, when you come back, you'd be filmmaking? And is it a good thing for the TT?
I think it's essential. You know, I think we've had some great coverage over the last few years. We certainly, you know, the whole thing has highlighted the TT. It's brought it to fans around the world that perhaps wouldn't have previously been, you know, seen it. It's not been. It's brought mainstream TV has brought it to fans that didn't know they were fans. The whole event, again, I'm repeating myself here, but the single biggest motorcycle event of the year, and it's great that we can take it out to more and more people around the world.
The last time we had a fully fledged documentary on the TT, it featured Ian Hutchinson's 5 wins in a week in Paget's colours. I suppose you'll be hoping to see more of the same.
Well, it would be incredible, wouldn't it? But, you know, lifetime achievement for all of the team that were there. And, you know, we still have all the same team members. It's incredible. And a couple of new boys. But, hey, look, we're all hoping to achieve great things. The first thing we can all achieve is to go down Bray Hill. We're so looking forward to it. Let's get back in the paddock. Let's get the fans on the island. Let's get the fans watching around the world and, you know, cross that line and all have some fun.
Philip, let's bring you in here because yours is another team which has such a rich and fascinating history with the TT. But are you ready to show more of what goes on behind the scenes?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my father and I, we've had a fantastic time at the Isle of Man TT, and you know, we've achieved much more than we ever thought was possible from the early days. Couldn't have done it, of course, without an absolutely incredible lineup of riders. You know, it's fantastic, and we obviously couldn't do it without those guys. So we're looking forward to more of the same. I mean, I think everyone knows that the TAS Racing TT story now began with Hector Neal having a dream that he would one day win the senior TT on the Isle of Man. And here we are, 18 victories, I think it is, later, and hopefully still a few more to come. The developments that we've heard about tonight, you know, they're nothing more really than what the TT fans and organisers deserve. I mean, the event, as Clive just said, really does deserve to be up there amongst, you know, the greatest sporting events in the world, not even just motorcycling, I think, really. And I mean, I think we'll all welcome the brand new fan base of people we're going to welcome this year who have never seen the TT before and will have access to it now through this additional coverage.
Well, you speak of those developments, Philip. We've been speaking to the guys in the studio tonight and some big names in TT racing who have been working with the organisers. You have also been working closely with the organisers, I understand. But do any of the developments that have come to light tonight, have they surprised you at all?
Well, look, we've got a really great relationship with the TT organisers, and that's so important for us as a team as we, you know, continue to develop as a team. It's so important. It's what brings us back to the TT every year. And look, to be honest, having witnessed the ambition of the core TT team over the past few months, I was expecting some significant changes. They're such a driven bunch of individuals, but even I'm surprised tonight at some of the announcements that have been made. You know, it really is exciting for all of us, and it was very clear from the outset that that core team of people, the Spectator was of the utmost importance, and everything has been considered. I mean, from how the the people will travel to the Isle of Man, where they'll stay when they get there, even right down to making this new experience for allow the fans to watch the coverage from the comfort of their own home. You know, that's all very, very encouraging, and it's really great to see the TT evolving in this way.
And we've spoken about your history, your relationship with the event. Can you ever foresee a time where your team isn't at the TT?
I hope not, especially after the exciting news that we've heard tonight. You know, we certainly appreciate all of the support that we get from everyone involved with the TT, from the organisers to the fans to the manufacturers. You know, I think it's fair to say the TT really is part of the DNA of TAS Racing. And I imagine you'll hear the name Hector Neal around the Isle of Man for many years to come.
What about you, Clive? Can the same be said for Paget's?
We count the days down, you know, it's not, it's something that we wake up every morning dreaming of, wanting to be, you know, flying down Bray Hill, along Glencrutchy Road. You can count on it. Paget will be there, you know, much the same as Philip, second generation now after my dad and Dad Peter and Uncle Don. And, you know, there's third generation there in the wings. Who knows? Let's be doing it for many, many years yet.
Well, we can't wait for the film. Thanks both for joining us, and we look forward to seeing Paget's and TAS colours back in the TT Grandstand in 2022. It's not just on the internet where fans will have greater access to the event. For those making the pilgrimage here, the introduction of the new TT Fan Park adjacent to the TT Grandstand will offer even more exclusive content. Visitors to the park can look forward to being entertained each day of the festival, beginning with full live race coverage on the big screen. There will also be live music, chat shows, signing sessions, games, competitions and more. Chris Pritchard will be hosting a lot of the action and entertainment at the TT Fan Park. He joins us now, as does fans' favourite Lee Johnston. Let's start with you though, Chris, because the TT Fan Park is another exciting development for the TT coming for us in 2022. You were preparing it for the event last year, but the coronavirus pandemic put paid to that. So it's already had a bit of a change, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've been kind of patiently sat waiting for this to happen for the past 2 years. But I think the fact that we've been forced to have this hiatus of 2 years, and the fact that we're launching the TT live so fans can actually watch it, whether they're abroad, wherever, worldwide, and they can watch it in the fan park is a great opportunity to have that relaunch with that, and obviously the fan park on top of that as well.
Chris, we've seen fan parks introduced at other sporting events, so how will this impact the TT?
Absolutely, Matt. I think it'll be an absolute game changer. I don't know if anybody said this already, but I've got a feeling it might be the biggest TT event, period. The fact that, like I said before, it's live. We're going to see live footage. So the fans aren't necessarily going to have to feel the need to go around the course. Of course they're going to, but they're not going to feel the need that they have to be out there every time, that they can come to the fan park and know they're going to be able to listen to the coverage, and they're actually going to be able to see the coverage. Now, we've seen fan parks, the World Cup fan park, we've seen the Olympic fan park. I competed in 2 Commonwealth Games, and back in 2014, up in Glasgow, they had Glasgow Green became a fan park, and as athletes, we got down there and we got to see some of the fans and experience the fan park, and it was game changing for the fans because, you know, like the TT here, you'll have fans being able to interact with the riders lightly and all the other ones. So yeah, I think it's going to be massive for the TT.
And continuing the theme of improved access, I understand that the prize presentations are being moved to the fan park.
So yeah, those prize presentations that were often, behind closed doors, a lot of the fans didn't actually get to see them, but now they'll be able to see them after the races, after the events in the evenings. Again, just allowing those fans to feel closer to the action, closer to the riders, and actually see those presentations take place. Again, another aspect that the fans will receive in that fan park.
And Chris, tell us how fans can hear more from you before they see you and listen to you at the fan park in 2022.
Well, it's lucky you should say that, Chris, because I'm now going to be the official host of the TT podcast. The TT podcast is coming very soon. We'll be talking, obviously, to a lot of the riders from the TT, the organisers, the people behind the riders. We're going to get all those stories, and hopefully, because we'll get a little more time with the riders and those people behind the scenes, we'll be able to find out a bit more about the TT that we don't necessarily always hear in those post-race interviews or we see on the TV. So that is coming very, very soon.
Exciting development for tonight. Let's hope one of the guests on your podcast is a fan's favourite, Lee Johnston. Great to have you with us this evening, Lee. First of all, we are aware you've had a few health problems, so can you give us an update? We're hoping you're making a speedy recovery.
Actually, I put a little thing on my own social media and stuff just yesterday, so basically things are going really well. I've been lucky to be involved with some really good specialists in Leeds Hospital. So yeah, they've been looking after me really good, and the medication and stuff they have me on now seems to be working really well. So I've been back doing some testing and stuff, and yeah, things are looking really good. And all honestly, if the TT probably had have went this year, I wouldn't have been fit to go anyway. So I've yeah, I think everyone else missing out a year has helped me a little bit. So yeah, I'm raring to go next year. Hopefully, all being well if we keep getting this sort of development with the health and stuff. So yeah, things are good.
Well, everyone who's part of the TT family is wishing you a full and speedy recovery. Let's talk about the fan park, though. You've always had a great connection with your fans and your support base. What do you think a TT fan park can do to enhance that?
Yeah, I think it's amazing, if I'm honest, and it's a surprise that it sort of took this long to happen. That's the way all other sports are going now. You look at the likes of Formula One and all these events, and even like World Superbikes, even when the riders come into the winners enclosure and stuff now, there's a lot more interaction with the fans, and that's what people are starting to realise. At the end of the day, without the fans, there is no sport. So and it is nice if you do well and you come in and everyone's cheering and stuff, and they can see every part of the lap. Do you know what I mean? When something exciting does happen, they're not missing out or having to wait to see it on the TV and stuff. So yeah, it's an amazing feat.
And a TT winner yourself in 2019, how special would the atmosphere be if you were to take part in a prize presentation, this time in a TT fan park with a really vibrant atmosphere?
That saying never gets old when someone says that to you or introduces you as that. Yeah, amazing. It's at the end of the day, if whether racers admit it or not, we're all show-offs inside, because we all do this to get a reward or a reaction or someone to say well done. And the bigger the connection with the fans and the more fans that are happy for you, and like people still come up to me now every day and say well done for winning the TT, that they haven't seen me since then or whatever. So yeah, to get that reaction straight away and share that with them, and I think it's more important when the fans see how much it means to you, because at the end of the day, when you're doing all this, you've got your helmet on and they can't see all that until maybe on the podium or afterwards. So when you come in and that raw emotion of you can't control your excitement and everybody gets to see that, well then that's the best part of the job, isn't it?
Well, Lee, the excitement is building here. We hope we see you in 12 months' time. Chris, we'll see and hear from you a lot sooner, and if you want to subscribe, then you can do so on your devices via the usual platforms and channels. But lads, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Before we sign off this evening, let's get some final thoughts from our guests in the studio. Connor, we're all really, really excited to know that you'll be back racing again in 2022, trying to grind out that first win. How excited are you to come back racing again in 12 months' time, having heard all the news tonight?
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. Just listening to everyone's comments during this evening it's certainly raised the pulse anyway. I'm really excited for next year. I think it's going to be an awesome year. Yeah, a 2-year layoff has been far too long, so I can't wait to get down Burchell, get some mileage in and chase that victory.
Dave, you know the TT better than almost anyone, I think. I mean, you must be incredibly excited about the future of the TT.
I am, just looking at it from a newcomer's point of view, and guys, girls coming in to ride here. The future looks really good and secure. So when you're a rider and you're starting out young, you want to really know that you've like Milky said before, it's a 5-year program from being a newcomer. I'm excited for them guys. You know, this is good, real good news. And on a personal note, in the sidecar class, I'm on the other end of the scale. Got John saying he's 50, blinking heck, I'll be 58 next year. And I'm going to combine my age with my passenger, 98, I think we clocked in. But some good experience. But we're as excited as them young guys wanting to come here and ride. And just really thankful that we've got that opportunity to do this again. You know, there were doubters. I've walked the streets, go through ShopRite, you know, get me shopping, and people go, do you think it'll even run again, Dave? Yeah, of course it's going to go again. And yeah, this is really exciting, good stuff.
But there was that doubt. Richard, you speak so passionately about the TT, it's in your veins. What are your feelings as you look forward to the event returning in 12 months' time?
Like I said, Chris, you know, it is the best event in the world, full stop, better than anything football. People were talking about football and rugby and all that tonight, but there's nothing like the TT. It's the best event in the world, full stops. And I think if you want to come next year, you know, it's going to be like 2007, it's going to be mental. So I think suggest you book now and get sorted. So yeah, I just can't wait. It's going to be phenomenal. I've got goosebumps now just talking about it. It's just, yeah, it's going to be ace.
It's going to be special, that is for sure. That's all we've got time for tonight. My thanks to all the guests. 351 days and counting. Until then, good night.